Now we talk a little bit about the other team that was on the field last night, and I don't know what to make of the Raiders. I'm a firm believer that the NFL is better when the Raiders are good. They haven't been good, other than a flash here and a flash there. 2021, 2016, 17, the year that Derek Carr suffered the leg fracture late in the season and wasn't able to play in the playoff game. They've had 2 years that stand out since they went to the Super Bowl to cap the 2002 season and lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's been a long time since the Raiders have been competitive. And as we said at the top of the show, like, why did anyone think that they'd be a primetime-worthy team November 17? Beyond the fact that the division is so good as it relates to the Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs, like, how much did they really, like what, okay, you can always come up with plausible reasons for optimism, and you never know until you start playing the games. And they have Maxx Crosby, and Pete Carroll brings in that enthusiasm, and we made this change, that change. But I think that last night's game, Devin, demonstrated that they have a lot of work to do to turn that franchise around, and it's going to be anything but a quick fix. And I'm starting to wonder, like, you had 4 runs and 30 passes in the first half when Pete Carroll's been making it clear he wants to run the ball. I feel like between Carroll and Chip Kelly, one of them's not going to be there next year. Maybe both of them won't be there next year. It just feels like the harder they try to turn it around, they just can't do it. And I don't know what they need to do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. You look at the rushing attempts. Geno Smith had 4, Gentry 6, and Mostert 2. Like, I don't think we ever imagined that we would turn on a Raiders game the way their team is built, and we would be like, hey, they're just not going to run the ball. I know they're going to use this top draft pick on Ashton Gentry, but they're just not going to run the ball on a primetime Monday night game. So I think the hard thing, too, for the Raiders in that division, this offseason became like the highlight for them, right? You bring in Pete Carroll, Brady's involved in it a little bit. Even coming into the game last night, they show Brady walking in. He's in the owner's suite. It's just like, hey, it's a reminder, like, hey, we got to go play football. We gotta show up and do something. And the feeling that I've watched last night, I was like, I guess the only reason that this Monday night game happened is because of the relationship with Schottenheimer being on Pete Carroll's staff. Now he's a head coach versus Pete Carroll. Because, like you said, there was no other thing that made this a game to watch. I agree with you, though. When you watch the Raiders, whether you watch them live or you go back and you watch them on film, it's just not much to say. Their defense fights tough. Like, they show up, they battle, but, like, overall last Thursday, their corner Blue, he had a big game, 2 interceptions. They battled against Denver. But every time they play a game where it seems like they play good, I think everyone walks away and they go, the other team just played poorly. It's like they don't get a lot of credit. It's not consistent. So I just don't know. I think everyone's thought process was that Pete Carroll would come there. Obviously, Pete Carroll's, days of coaching are more behind him than anything. But I think everyone thought Pete Carroll would come in 2 to 3 years, this thing would be moving in the right direction, and then hopefully somebody else would come in and kind of take it the next few steps going ahead. But now you watch and you're just like, dang, so like this year is going to be a total bust. And then are we expected next year to be way better to move it in that direction? So I just don't know where they turn. I don't know what it is. Like, is it trading Maxx Crosby and investing in the future? Like, I don't know where they turn to say this is what we're going to do to become this team.
And I give Maxx Crosby a ton of credit because when the noise started to emerge, the teams like the Cowboys were calling to see if he'd be available. The first line is Raiders don't want to do it, and then Crosby doesn't want to do it. We talked a lot last week about Matthew Stafford not being appreciated as, on the fringe of being one of the all-time greats, and one of the knocks is he tolerated losing in Detroit for too long, where other guys like a Peyton Manning would have said, you're going to make this better. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm not spending a decade in this mess. But there's a commitment there. There's a resolve there. He wants to be there, and he wants to be part of the turnaround. And he was still playing hard late in the game last night when it didn't matter, and that's just the way he's wired. And he told us at the Super Bowl at some point in the past couple of years, he's got that work ethic. He's got that drive. He's got that determination. And they need it to rub off on other guys. And he'll have other guys who are like, I want to be like you. All right, well, meet me at the gym at 5 a.m. And they come for a day or two, and then they're not there anymore. So whatever it is that makes Maxx Crosby what he is, if I'm the coach of that team, or if I'm involved in that team in any way whatsoever, what I'm trying to figure out is how in the hell do I get the other guys to behave like Maxx Crosby? Because it's obvious the connection between what he puts in and what he gets out. And if other guys would put that same kind of commitment in, maybe the rest of the team would benefit from it. And the other thing, too, as it relates to Ashton Jennings, you used the 6th overall pick on a player, and it reminded me of when the Jets signed Le'Veon Bell. You don't build a team from the outside in. You build a team from the inside out. You don't go out and get a potential game-breaking running back if you don't have the other pieces to get the most out of him. If you don't have an offensive line, it doesn't matter. And he's not Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders didn't need an offensive line. I remember as the draft was approaching, Chris Sims pointed out, Ashton Jennings dominant, but you get him against Penn State, and it's not the same as it is against the teams that Boise State otherwise plays. So you get him to the NFL, and maybe he's not going to be that game breaker. You got to have the other pieces in place to let a great running back go be great. And they could have traded. When you look at all the holes they had on that roster, they were in a prime position with the 6th overall pick. Trade down. Get more picks. Get more players. Build your team from the inside out, not from the outside in. And I think in hindsight, that really was a mistake. Although they may have thought, hey, we are going to be better. And maybe this is a guy that's going to be a difference maker. Maybe we do have enough, and that was just the piece we needed. And he could still turn into a great player. I just feel like right now they don't have enough around him. And if you're not going to give him the ball, it makes it hard for Ashton Jennings to demonstrate to anyone that he can thrive at this level.
I am totally shocked when you were going down the Maxx Crosby of getting more guys like him. I just knew of you being you would say, well, I bet they're just going to clone Maxx Crosby because of everybody involved in their organization and having Brady. I just knew that was coming, and you didn't. That's why I was smiling. I was like, I know what he's about to say, and you didn't say it. I was disappointed.
I didn't want to be the one to say Tom Brady cloned his dog as a test run for cloning himself, but Derek Carr said that last week, and I think he said it half seriously. Like, I think Carr said, maybe he's already cloned himself, or no, the dog is the test run for Tom to clone himself. And hey, grow a few Maxx Crosbys in the lab, and you'll be a better Raiders team. Tom was there last night too, by the way, and he learned. You can't look. Appearance is everything. Perception is reality. If you're going to be at the game, be in a luxury suite, hanging out. Don't have the headset. Don't be sitting in the coach's booth. Now, it's maybe true that it's like, why bother? It doesn't matter at this point. We're 2-7 on the way to 2-8. But, for so many people, that conflict of interest was out there, and it wasn't until they saw him in the chair doing the hit the button and slide down as low as I can so they don't notice me. It's a different look, and he wasn't working last night, but he was there, and you just have to wonder what he wants, because it's clear he's got a big voice in that team, Devin. There's been some chatter that kind of Chip Kelly was his guy, and Chip and Pete it's not like Mark Davis is going to do whatever Tom Brady tells him to do. And you just got to wonder, what is Tom Brady going to tell him to do? And Mark Davis has made that clear too. This isn't Tom Brady usurping authority. This is Mark Davis. One of the reasons he sold the team at a sweetheart discount price, part of the team, to Tom Brady, was for Brady's expertise. So when the dust settles on this season, the decisions that get made going forward, Devin, they're going to be fueled heavily by whatever Tom Brady tells Mark Davis that Tom thinks Mark needs to do.
Yeah, and Well, listen, I got the opportunity to play with this guy for 10 years. Brady's not just a quarterback. Like, we used to sit in our captain's meetings, and the guy would break down what we needed to do as a team. Like, he would usually go last, and it would bring everything together, how they needed to play, because he expected us to play this way and special team. So the guy knows football. He understands all that. I just hope for them, I don't care who you have. Like, I got to play with Coach Belichick 13 years. You need a staff of people. You need people to be able to say, I don't know about that. You need to have some confrontation. You need to have some battles when you're building a team. It can't just be this one guy knows everything and we all move out of the way. So no matter what, I hope they're building a group of people that are coming together to make these decisions. I think you always need one person to get the final say, but I think you need a lot of smart minds that come together in football that are going to be decision makers. We had that in New England when we were building game plans. I'm sure they had that higher up, even though Bill made the final decision, of being able to challenge one another to make the best decision. I hope they're bringing that, because I think that's what Tom's used to. That's what I saw in New England. So hopefully that's what the structure they're building in Vegas.
Do you ever sit around and contemplate your post-playing career life choices and realize you had years of access to the greatness of people like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and now you deal with someone like me 2 hours a week and sit in a room with me and have to listen to me for 7 hours on a Sunday? You don't have to answer that. I think I already know the answer. But I bet they never danced with you at halftime. I bet they never did that.
That's true, and they tell all former players your life will never be as good as it once was. So I kind of understood that.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.